A constitutional line has been drawn in the sand. A federal judge has just issued an emergency order, blocking the deployment of thousands of U.S. National Guard troops and Marines to the streets of Los Angeles. This move, ordered by the Trump administration, has triggered a legal and political firestorm, pitting the White House directly against the state of California. This is a story about power, protest, and the rules that govern America. The crisis began in early June 2025. As protests over federal immigration enforcement grew in Los Angeles, the Trump administration made a drastic move. Citing a danger of a rebellion, the White House invoked a rarely used federal law, Title 10 of the U.S. Code. This wasn't a request for help, it was a federal takeover. California's own National Guard was federalized and ordered into the city. The official mission: protect federal personnel and property. The initial deployment included 2,000 National Guard troops, but that number quickly swelled to 4,000. And in an even more controversial step, the administration brought in 700 active-duty U.S. Marines. The decision stunned local officials. Critics questioned whether such a force was necessary for managing civil demonstrations. To many, this wasn't about safety, it was about sending a political message and exerting federal authority over a defiant state. The reaction from California was swift and furious. Governor Gavin Newsom called the deployment a manufactured crisis and an abuse of presidential power. His administration argued that local law enforcement had the situation under control and that federal troops would only escalate tensions. But the pushback wasn't just rhetorical. California responded with legal action, filing a federal lawsuit to block the deployment and challenge its constitutionality. That lawsuit has now triggered a political earthquake. In a sharp rebuke to the Trump administration, a U.S. district judge issued a temporary restraining order, halting the entire operation. The court ruled that the president had overstepped his constitutional bounds and that the unrest in Los Angeles didn't qualify as a rebellion under Title 10. The judgment was clear: federal troops must stand down, and control of the National Guard must return to California. This moment marks a pivotal test for the American system. At its core, this case is about federalism, the delicate balance of power between states and the federal government. It also shines a spotlight on the Posse Comitatus Act, a law that restricts military involvement in civilian affairs. Though the court has ruled, the conflict is far from over. The Justice Department has already announced plans to appeal, setting the stage for a prolonged legal battle. So, what happens next could reshape the presidency for years to come. If the case reaches the Supreme Court, it may set precedent on the limits of executive authority in times of civil unrest. For now, California has won a critical round, but the confrontation is far from resolved. This is no longer just about troop deployments, it's about the very structure of American democracy and the struggle over who gets to wield power in a divided nation. So, for the moment, a federal court has backed the state of California, forcing a halt to a historic military deployment in one of the nation's largest cities. But with an appeal already in motion, the legal and political standoff is far from over. It's a landmark confrontation over the limits of presidential authority, and we'll be following every development closely. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned as this high-stakes battle continues to unfold.